Welcome back to the Triple Double Watch, guys. Today we got an Eastern Conference NBA offseason video for you. We're going to go through each Eastern Conference team and kind of rate their offseasons. Me and Ant got a special guest, Hayden Lee, with us to your right. And he's going to give some insight on his favorite things from each team, too. And we're going to have some fun with it.
So what I've been getting in reviews is this is our second best host on the show.
The greatest to ever do it. What can I say?
I mean, we had
first.
That'd be me.
Oh,
we had an episode without you, and it was like
Hot take.
amazing.
Hot take.
So yeah, so we're gonna go without JJ.
Oh, hot take.
Okay.
well.
Anyways, we're gonna go through every Eastern Conference team in this video. We'll have another one in Western.
Yep.
And we'll start with the Hawks for this one.
Real quick, if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe.
And I'll put that little thing I've been putting in the videos at the bottom.
And give me some love, apparently, since I'm the third best host already.
He doesn't need any of that. Anyways, Atlanta signed Aaron Holiday and Frank Kaminsky to one-year deals this offseason. Big names, stars. They traded for Mo Harkless and Justin Holiday, so they got two of the Holidays. But their big thing, the highlight of their offseason was DeJounte Murray from the Spurs. A great backcourt now with Trey and him. So what'd you think of it?
Yeah, so they traded in that trade. Gallinari shipped out, and then a bunch of first-round picks.
And Gallinari ended up being waived by
And
the Spurs. So.
in all reality, like, for the draft capital they had to give up, it's still worth it. DeJounte Murray fits in perfectly with Trae Young. A lot of really good defense, can play on the ball or off the ball. Gives them size, gives them another playmaker in general when he's off the court, because they struggled with that last year. What did you think about it?
I like the trade, but I think it's going to be weird for Trae Young playing off the ball more. He's doing more of a Steph Curry role instead of being very ball dominant. So his numbers will probably drop a little bit until he gets used to playing off ball.
I think his playmaking, like assists and stuff, will go down, but
For sure.
I don't think his numbers will go down that much.
I think
it's like
just getting used to it.
DeJounte's more of a playmaker in defense and driver, and Trey's like a just three-point shooter. I mean, he can go, but I mean, I think it's gonna be great. So
It'll take some time to get used to, I think, but I think it'll be better. I think they'll be a top 4 team in the East.
Definitely possible. What offseason grade would you give them then?
I would give them probably A-, just because I do like DeJounte.
yeah,
That's pretty much it.
I
But
gave him an A- because that DeJounte trade was pretty much exactly what they were looking for going into the offseason. So
Yeah, I gave them an A- too. The times now. I mean, you were Eastern Conference Finals a year before last, so Trae Young's not getting any younger, and you got to capitalize while you can. It'll be interesting to see their late game lineups if they try to go little John Collins at the 5 or whoever else, and who they throw in at the wings, because they did lose Kevin Huerter also. So that's kind of a big piece. They lost DeLon Wright, which helped them some.
they still have Tyrese Hunter. Right?
Yeah.
I like that. He could start getting time now without Huerter in the way.
Yep.
Next up is Boston. They signed Gallinari, who got waived in the DeJounte Murray trade.
Yep.
They also signed Luke Cornett and Sam Hauser. But their probably big thing of the offseason was another trade for Malcolm Brogdon from the Pacers. So, they went out and got some guard depth, and Hayden really liked that, I know. So what's your thoughts on it?
I would say I think Boston will run it back. I think they'll go to the finals again, just because now they have people that can take the pressure off of Tatum and Brown constantly having the ball. Along with, they just drafted J.D. Davison, who's had, I'd say, a pretty good summer league.
50
again.
Yeah, that's pretty late for him, I feel like. I mean, he wasn't like a star for by any
He has a
means.
lot of potential.
Yeah.
He has a lot of potential. He's a freak athlete.
He could maybe get some guard rotation minutes, but
I think he'll mostly be in the G League
yeah, probably.
for the most of the year, just to get a lot of time, a lot of practice in. But overall, I give Boston a B+ for the Brogdon trade. Gallinari's good. People still sleep on him, but you put another shooter around Tatum and Brown. They like to go to the basket, but they can also space the floor. So he's going to get open shots.
Yeah, I actually gave him an A because, like we said, they added guard depth, which was their big need, and they didn't really lose anything. I mean, they didn't give up a whole lot of anything for Brogdon. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I gave them an A too, and this trade kind of signified that they like Derek White, but they don't love Derek White. he was spotty in the playoffs. He had some amazing games in the finals, but then he had some games where he was 0 for 7 or whatever with a couple turnovers. So Brogdon and White both, if one of them's hot, they can play the one that's hot. It doesn't. I don't think it takes away Derek White's minutes come playoff time or anything by any means. But for what you gave up, like they said, the time's now for them too, and what they gave up is irrelevant for the upcoming season.
They're both good.
And Gallinari is a great signing for this team also.
Yeah. So this is one of the interesting ones
For sure.
Brooklyn's offseason has been
not finished.
has been far more than interesting. It's been the talk of the entire league.
It's the best player in the world, Kevin Durant's on it.
As of right now, they have signed back Claxton and Patty Mills for 2 years. They did add T.J. Warren for a year, a couple other guys, and they traded for Royce O'Neal. So,
which was kind of random too.
Yeah, it was kind of it was literally an hour before KD's trade request became public. So it was like, what are we doing? So, I mean, if you look at it, there's still, as of right now, there's talks of them still keeping KD and Kyrie.
Yeah.
Still possible. So if you look at this team with them, it still looks solid, but it does not seem likely that they'll be there. So
I think they'll have to tough it out for a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it happen.
It's kind of like it just seems like they're still getting information and like what is the value, which.
Yeah, KD completely stole free agency so far. I mean, it was hard to determine what the whole NBA landscape even looked like because all these guys that are getting in sign-in trades could have been sent at any moment. But now it looks like this KD talk will at least simmer out into the preseason type deal. But if KD gets traded anywhere, that changes the whole Western or Eastern Conference. I hope that they find a way to keep them both because this is still a really, really good team that can win a championship next year if they keep them both. But if KD's that unhappy, I mean, and you have to. So.
Yeah, that's why I gave them a C because it's like, you're just sitting here in lingo like you're either waiting for that offer to come in that you like, or you're going into next season with a very just a rough locker room at the least. So.
Hey, what grade you give him?
I gave him a C, and here's why. I mean, like you're saying, the locker room, you're never really going to know. Like, Kevin Durant's going to go out there and play. He's going to be KD.
Yeah.
Kyrie, you never really know what Kyrie's going to do. Top 15 talent in the league is just, I mean.
And I don't agree with these people that just bash the man. Part of that was not his problem last year.
Dude, I'll say this. LeBron wouldn't have won that championship without Kyrie in 2016. No matter how great he played.
Last year, some of the time he missed was completely out of his control.
Yeah.
And
not just you're seeing that in the MLB right now too.
So.
But I gave Brooklyn a C. I mean, they picked up T.J. Warren, who's not going to be bubble T.J. Warren. He's going to go out and probably get 15.
Solid.
It's a solid rotational piece. Yeah. Then you got Royce O'Neal, a good 3-and-D player. Claxton's a young center. I mean, block shots around the rim, get rebounds, putbacks. So that's good. And then, I mean, it's not going to be the best place to play, especially with all the drama around it, because you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. Who's going to get traded? Who are they going to move? Because whatever team trades for Kevin Durant, Brooklyn's not going to get enough back. Brooklyn will never get enough back to salvage what they had for Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
That's plain and simple.
And have you seen all the crazy possible 4-team trades, possible 5?
That's too much of a
headache. The
trade
scenarios just go crazy. I actually ended up giving them a B-. I really like T.J. Warren and Royce O'Neal signings and trades. They didn't give up much for either of them. T.J. Warren's on a pretty friendly deal. They lost Bruce Brown, which was key to their team, but getting 2 players back in return is nice. T.J. Warren and Royce O'Neal will be good with or without KD. Again, I hope it's with them, but I do want to mention that they have a bunch of free agents still unsigned that might sign somewhere else. LaMarcus Aldridge might be a key piece somebody signs. Blake Griffin, what does he have left? Dragic is already signed now.
Yeah, Dragic signed somewhere else.
So, but I hope Aldridge goes back to the Nets, but he could be a big piece somewhere else too, coming off the bench. So
yeah, we thought that man was done.
Yeah,
no, exactly. He can still play.
So
he can still play.
Yeah, we thought he was done. Mm-hmm. So a lot to happen still in Brooklyn, but a lot that hasn't happened is Charlotte. Literally, their only ad has been Cody Martin re-signed for 4 years, which was like, seems
Not
like
much.
a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't really do a whole lot, I didn't feel like, but their big news is their guys that haven't signed anywhere. Miles Bridges is probably out of the NBA for the distant future.
For a while, yeah.
It's-
Maybe for longer than the distant
Those
future.
become random. That could be half a season, or it can become 2.
Yeah.
So
And then you got Montrezl Harrell, who's still out there, who's also out of the NBA for a little bit.
the Hornets,
Probably not
the
as
new,
long.
like, the new criminal squad, like
Is it
the old
the-
Jailblazers. The new.
Hard hitters, man, hard hitters.
Yeah, well, they got Martin. I feel like their draft was pretty solid for the picks they had.
I like Mark Williams a lot
Yeah.
for them. Just
Yep.
gives LaMelo another big. Who's
Definitely need a
Mark
long
Williams. You look at what he did in college. Shot blocker, can run the floor.
Which is a lot perfectly.
Exactly
We
what
mentioned
they
it
needed.
when we talked about him in the draft thing. It's perfect for LaMelo.
Yep.
That's pretty much all Charlotte's got right now, though. So
I'll give him a C plus.
I gave him that to C plus because it's like for the situation you're in. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose those guys now either way. So I mean, you got LaMelo, Rozier. You still got solid guy. You got PJ, and you got Mark Williams now. So I feel like they're still running out a solid 5.
Yeah.
It's not by any means a playoff contender.
They're still
I'd
just
give
all
him-
about progression. too.
I'd give him like a D plus. Just because D plus, just because yes, you lost your second best player. Because again,
Well, he
he
was a
couldn't-
free agent, so you were
They
They
probably
were
would've
gonna
got it
re-sign
back
him.
one way or the other.
They were
gonna
restricted,
re-sign him.
right?
yeah restricted.
But-
But yeah, I mean it's not ideal, but I
life
feel like
events happen.
for the situation they were in, it was all right.
They would have been average play-in team.
And I have no sympathy for Miles Bridges, but it couldn't have been worse timing for him. And,
As soon as free agency opened,
and it'll be interesting if the NBA comes down, if he gets away with no jail time, and the NBA comes down and says he's suspended for a season, though, it'll be interesting to see what his market is like then. If he gets a long-term extension, and if it's more than
I mean,
20
I feel like
a
I would
year.
have to look at like previous instances of
Exactly.
this to like think about how long he's
So.
going to be gone. Bulls are up next. We mentioned got Dragic. They also got Andre Drummond and Derek Jones for 2 years, and they re-signed Zach LaVine to a 5-year max. So
Big resign.
that was huge. Definitely don't want to lose a guy like that. So
He's still young. He's like 27. 28,
Yeah.
I think.
something like that.
Yeah, but what I got from Chicago was I really do like the Drummond signing, just because
Yep.
Vucevic is not like a dominant big. Like yes, he's more skilled and he can space the floor.
It's definitely a good backup.
But Drummond, I mean, he'll go get you 15 rebounds a night, get you 2 blocks, 12 points just on putbacks. I mean, dude's 6'11", 285 pounds, and he can run the floor as well. But another thing I like is their draft pick recently is Dalen Terry. A lot of people I don't think have watched him, but I really like his game. I mean, he's not afraid to put it all out there, hustle, get scrappy, go to the rim, shoot a shot. He has extreme confidence, and he just looks like he loves being out there, which is always good to see as an NBA fan.
Yep. I mean, it didn't sound like for a while there during the end of the season and beginning of off season that Levine was going to be coming back. So,
Yeah. So getting him
huge
alone.
to keep him back.
Yeah.
And
I'm interested in what this to do with him.
It's really-
more.
it's more about health for them, I think. You got to get Lonzo
For sure.
back healthy for sure and just stay healthy, and they still got a solid team. I mean, if they can figure out how to beat playoff teams in the regular season, they could get a high seed.
Yeah, so I mean, the Dragic signing gives them a little bit of injury depth. If Lonzo is somebody else, which the Lonzo injury looks like it's going to take a little longer than expected. Yeah, I really like Drummond. For the cap space they have available, there wasn't a ton they could do after you re-signed Levine to that long of a contract.
Yeah.
So overall, I'll give them probably a B minus for me.
I'll give them a B plus because if they had lost Levine, this grade would have been probably
Yeah.
a D.
Yeah, that's
you got to
true.
take that into account.
Sure.
You got to keep a guy like that.
Hayden, what was your grade?
I gave him a B plus just because I like the, let's say the trio of Lonzo when he's back healthy, Levine and DeMar. DeMar had a great season.
Yeah, and you got guys like Patrick Williams. And
Who came off an injury? Who's
You got
coming off
all-
an injury?
Yes.
All-star Vucevic. I mean,
If
he's pretty good.
If the Bulls want to compete, they need a big step up from Patrick Williams, and they need 2 years ago Zach LaVine. He wasn't bad last year, but they need him to stay
And
healthy
you need healthy Lonzo.
and be a dominant All-Star too. So.
Yeah. So next up is Cleveland, who I'm going to go ahead and say is one of my higher grades. Think they had an amazing offseason. Signing wise, they re-signed Garland to a 5-year. They signed Ricky Rubio to a 3-year, which was crazy.
They extended him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Well, he was back at Indiana actually from the trade.
Oh,
But
okay.
he was a free agent anyway.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Raul Neto and Robin Lopez signed 1 years, and they had one of the top drafts for me.
For sure.
So, yeah, I think they had a really good year or offseason.
Yeah, Garland, you got to lock him up. That's good there. Rubio, bringing him back, he was amazing for them at the start of the season, and he was part of the reason they started doing bad when he got injured. So that's good. And I love the draft of Ochai Agbaji at 14. That is a perfect fit for them. 6'8" wing, can shoot, play defense. It's exactly what they need. And it never hurts to have some vets with Robin Lopez and Raul Neto that'll bring experience and give some good minutes.
It was kind of a meme just because of his brother, but I like the Isaiah Mobley.
Yeah, he can be impactful too for sure. So I think I'd give him an A-.
I gave him an A.
All right. So Cleveland, I know it's going to be a solid team. I'll just let you know I gave him a B, just because it's going to be another year of them doing development. Garland is going to be. Garland's going to be an all-star. All right, Garland's going to be an all-star. Mobley's going to get a big jump this year, I believe. All right, but they added some depth to it, so I think they'll probably be like a 5 seed.
I feel like if all goes well, they could be 3 or 4. If all goes wrong, they could still be a player.
They'll be a playoff team for sure. I think.
If they get out of the if they avoid the play-in, that's a successful season though.
No,
because they were the 8 seed last year. They were looking like they were going to avoid the play-in, and then all the injuries.
Young.
So they stay healthy. If they just avoid the play-in, that's a W season.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. This year's just a development year.
If what's his name? I forget his name all the time.
Sexton.
No. The Auburn guy that we compared to
Walker Kessler.
Or a couple years ago.
Sharif?
No, it was a couple years ago he got drafted. He's like a small forward wing defensive guy.
Isaac Okoro.
Yes. If you can get him to step up offensively,
him too.
he could be deadly.
Yes.
He's like a lockdown.
He's a lockdown. He's just got to figure it out.
I always forget his name. Like I don't know why, but yeah, I feel like they've got pieces on top of pieces right now. So
really young.
So moving on to Detroit Pistons now, who had a wild offseason. A lot of stuff going on draft night, a lot of signings, a trade here or two. So they brought in Alec, or you go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, well they brought in Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel from the Knicks trade night. Was that wasn't the Kemba Walker one? That was a separate one, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they signed Bagley back and signed Kevin Knox. So, those 2 guys right there are guys that were drafted really high and haven't really panned out. But you could always get something out of them still. Well, Kentucky fans, I'm sure, hate to see that. So they're definitely in the midst of their rebuild, but they still got guys like Cade, and I think they drafted another team that was one of the best drafts.
Ivy and Durant.
It was the best draft.
I mean, it's up there for sure. So
it was the best draft. They got a steal and Ivy. At what? He went 5? Yeah, he should have went. He's top 3. He's top 3 for me. Jabari's nice. Don't get me wrong. You can't go wrong with either 4 of these guys.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not. I mean, but any other year he's a top 3 talent.
I have Jaden Ivey as a top 3 in this draft.
Okay.
Because I think him and Cade, the backcourt, is going to be one of the best young ones. All right. Then Durant, even though Murray State kicked the crap out of Memphis. All right. I had to put that in there.
We did do that. Yeah.
We did do that. KJ Williams owned that, man.
We did do
all
that.
Right. Happens.
LSU legend, KJ Williams.
Hey, man. LSU's going to be nasty
the LSU Racers are going to go crazy.
LSU is nasty next year. All right.
Shout out Matt McMahon.
Shout out Rod.
Shout out Rod.
Shout out
Rod.
Shout out Rod. For
Very
real.
legend.
All right.
Anyways, let's move on.
So hey,
this is Detroit.
I gave Detroit an A+ just because I really like this youth movement. Okay, because Cade Cunningham is gonna be a star, big guard, like 6'7" point guard. Jaden Ivey, 6'4", athletic wing, has been compared to early Dwayne Wade. Not saying that John Morant as well. And Durant is just a big force on the inside. Again, another lob threat, rebounder, hustler.
I gave him an A, but I don't think you can give a team an A+ when you give up Jeremy Grant. That's a big loss. They didn't get anybody back near that talent. I mean, you got a bunch of good role players here, but
I still think you said Bagley's on the Detroit, right?
yeah,
Bagley's
they
there.
signed him for 3.
Bagley was a number 2 pick in the draft. I think now it's kind of his time to okay, you got to show people
he's
what you
gonna
got.
have to prove himself.
He's going to
now.
prove himself. I think he can. He's got all the.
I just don't know if he's gonna have a starting role.
So I gave him an A-, and partly because of the Jeremy Grant thing.
I was borderline AA-.
Jeremy Grant had to be shipped eventually, but I felt like his market had to be a little bit better. I just feel like you could have gotten more out of him, at least a player, like a good player back. But I really like Bagley. I think he's going to be better than he was last year, even with Detroit last year, which he got really good at the end of the year.
What would probably bump it down to an A- would be not getting a guy like DeAndre Ayton, which I predicted they would.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely could have worked out something to get that, which, I mean, in the end,
Suns weren't
the
letting him
Suns
go.
matched it, which I wasn't expecting.
Suns weren't letting him go.
But with
They've been
their
stupid.
with their new rookies and with development, Kane, some of them, they'll be in play for a play-in.
It was
so.
a good offseason for sure.
So.
So we'll move on to Indianapolis.
What's going on in Indiana?
The Indiana Pacers.
What is
They're
going on in India?
they're going full rebuild, it seems.
So please get Miles Turner the heck out of there.
Well, the Lakers will take him.
Lakers will
So
take anybody.
Please accept our offer for Buddy Hield and
Lakers will
Miles
take
Turner.
anybody.
What you giving up?
We'll take Hield and Turner. We'll give you Russ and a couple picks.
I mean, honestly, they might take that.
No, they've already they stopped talks.
Because it's
Our
crappy
talks
trade.
That's not. Russell Westbrook is not a C tier player. Let's stop.
I'm not
talking
saying
like
he is. Not
Yeah,
saying
but he
is.
just has no value to a team like Indiana.
What are they?
I mean,
what are
that's
they
like the
what are
only
they shooting
thing.
for here?
That's the only thing they can take.
What
is
are they
Russell
shooting
Westbrook.
for here? Listen,
Let Russ go.
This is the thing. I gave them a B for their offseason. They traded Brogdon for less than nothing. But I gave them a B. It's not great, but I gave them a B because they're going full rebuild. They didn't go out here and try to get guys like they did. I mean, they tried to get Ayton, I guess.
Wasn't happening.
But-
Wasn't happening.
I don't know. It feels like they're finally going full rebuild. I gave them a B because of their draft mainly. I feel like it was solid.
Mathurin's a good pick.
Mathurin's a good pick.
Very
Nembhard-
confident young
Nembhard at
guy.
31's good. Kendall
Kendall
Brown.
Brown even at 48.
Yeah. And you did get Aaron Neesmith, who could give you something, and Daniel Tice. So, but I feel like they're going full rebuild. So go ahead and send out Hield and Turner to.
I'm actually gonna give him a C. I think it was as average.
Yeah, I mean,
As it
B is the
possibly
highest
could
I
have
could have
been.
gone.
Once again, same thing. I know Brogdon's not on the most friendly contract ever, but I feel like you could have got a tad more out
Yeah,
of
they
him.
got nothing.
And they really got Naismith. That is literally it. And Naismith could be something, but he's already been in the league 2 or 3 years now. 3, I think. So that's a really shot in the dark there. You lost TJ Warren for nothing when you could have potentially traded him at some point for at least a draft pick, second round draft pick,
Ricky
something.
Rubio, if he had come back
So-
like he was before. You lose him.
Yeah, exactly. So, also, I like that they're going full rebuild, like you said, but I
We're
don't.
gonna need Turner out. If
I
you're full
don't
rebuild.
that, and I still don't think their rebuild has like a full direction. They have Halliburton, but like
They have
there's,
That's
Halliburton
the
and
direction.
there's not much past that
Halliburton and
still.
Mathurin is solid though.
Yeah,
solid.
it is.
Two good
but there's
young guys.
still not much past that. You
Yeah.
look at other teams like the Thunder and the Pistons, and you're excited about multiple guys. This team, you're like, all right, we got Halliburton, and we got this rookie coming in, which everybody's got a rookie coming in. You're excited about it
Yeah.
first, at least, and that's about it.
They got
So-
nothing much. I mean, if you trade Turner,
You
who
would have liked
Who
to
do you
see-
have besides that? The backup, Gogo Badadze? Is that their backup?
Isaiah Jackson too.
Isaiah Jackson.
Who's
Okay, Isaiah
solid,
Jackson,
but-
solid. Okay, for a role player.
Yeah.
But after backup center, they don't really have much. If they trade Turner, it's going to go, okay,
Trade
you need to get a
Sabonis
big.
already, so yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like they need to go into the rebuild now.
Yep.
I mean, you could get THT probably back in a Lakers trade if you want to do that. So, I mean, if you get Russ back, you get Russ for a year, and he's gone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you got cap space to sign role players, guys that are going to develop these guys. So, I gave them a B because they're finally going to go into it, similar to the Spurs.
And I just don't think Miles Turner's value is going to get any higher than it is now.
Yeah,
it's got to be done soon. What was your final grade for him?
Well, I had a B, but I'm going to drop it down to a C+, just because it was kind of average. I had a B.
Persuaded mid-talk.
I got
Finesse.
I'm not changing my grades
not
here.
really. Just because, thinking more back, with the big situation, they've got nobody besides Miles Turner. They trade him.
If you
they don't
trade
have
him
much.
somewhere, you could get something back.
But
yeah, we'll move on. That was a lot of talking for a very mid team. Miami.
Shout out Indiana.
Shout out Tevin. Tevin got signed to an Exhibit 10.
First day product.
Exhibit whatever it is.
You can go watch Indiana for $1.
Yes, you probably can. Miami, you can't go watch for $1. They re-signed Victor Oladipo for a year. They signed Caleb Martin for 3 and Dwayne Dedmon for 2. They didn't make any trade yet. They could get something for KD maybe, but
Jimmy and KD
or Donovan. It's possible. Unlikely though. I don't think they're gonna make a trade for either of those guys. I gave them a B- because they just. We talked about it before. They didn't really do anything crazy, but I think he only lost PJ Tucker. You got Oladipo back for a year, and you drafted Jovic, which I think was one of the steals of the draft.
Yep.
So I gave him B- because it was all right.
Yeah, that's another C for me. I just think it's about as average as it could be. I like that they get Oladipo back, but PJ Tucker is going to hurt a little more than you think, and their power forward play besides Bam is going to be really interesting. I don't know if they'll try to run small at times come playoffs or what. I worry about guys like Max Strus and Gabe Vincent cooling off a bit and the league figuring both of them out just a tad and them not being, at least not progressing, which is what this team would need to make a run. So I don't know, but trade could be in the works for sure.
Don't think right now this team is winning the finals.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what you're looking for out of this team.
You got Jimmy Butler, who's a built-in dog.
100%.
I'm just looking at y'all, just kind of doubting Miami, because
What's your grade then?
My grade B+.
Ooh.
My grade's B+.
Wow.
Okay, I really like. Okay, so I watched Summer League. One I watched most was Jokic.
Oh, he's a dog.
Dude can shoot the rock.
That's what got him out of the C range for me.
He's like 6'10", a wing that can shoot lights
an
out.
absolute steal.
Okay, but the thing is, like you're saying, people are hating on again. Jimmy's Jimmy in the regular season, but you put him into a playoff situation, dude will take over a game, both sides of the floor. People are also forgetting that Tyler Hero was hurt. Okay, for majority of the season. Didn't know halfway or more than playoffs. Just the playoff series. I thought he was most of the playoffs,
but that didn't really matter.
Well, again, they're out without one of their best shooters on the court. They also have Kyle Lowry, who's a vet guard, plays great defense, can rebound.
But I worry about him too because his injuries were piling up last season. Yeah. So I
still think he'll figure out a way to be effective. Okay, so I have Miami. I think they can make a run again.
Absolutely.
It was two years ago they went to the finals against LeBron and them. I still don't see why they couldn't make another run for it. Yeah. Again, Bam's there. They lost PJ Tucker. Yes, that's defense, but I think that the Jovic deal. He's again forward to shoot.
Oh, yeah. One of those definite steals.
My only problem with a team like this is when we're looking at a team like the Pacers, we can analyze every young guy, but a team like the Heat, I only care about they're wanting a championship. So when I look at them re-signing Caleb Martin, I don't really care. When they re-signed Dwayne Dedmon in a playoff series, that doesn't really matter. Even Jovic in a playoff series is probably not going to be much. He could be. He could.
Oladipo could be something.
Yeah, Oladipo definitely is.
People forget, was an all-star.
Yep.
All right, so moving into Milwaukee, they didn't necessarily bring in anything crazy, but they got all their guys back. They re-signed Bobby Portis, Wes Matthews, Serge Ibaka, Pat Connaughton, and Carter, and they brought in Joe Ingles for 1 year. So
after a little boot champ.
Yeah, drafted Beauchamp. I feel like they had a good offseason because they got their guys. They didn't let anybody walk, and when healthy, they're definitely capable of going and winning another ring. So My grade was a minus for keeping everybody.
Yeah, I think I'll give them an A- too. I like little Joe Ingles signing too. It gives them a bigger type guard because they've always been running Wes Matthews, Pat Connaughton, DiVincenzo, and all them. Joe Ingles is a little bit bigger, can guard those wings. And keeping everybody on pretty team-friendly contracts is perfect. You get Chris Middleton back because he didn't play in the injury. If Chris Middleton doesn't get injured, I think they would have won the finals.
Yeah.
So just run it back. It's still working. What'd you got for me?
I like the Ingles signing. I mean, he's older. He's like 36, 37. I mean, he's going to slow down soon. I gave it the grade a B just because, I mean, I expect Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday to run it back.
Yeah.
Same thing in the playoffs. They're
Definitely
great
capable
team.
of doing that every year.
Yep.
Moving on to the Knicks, who this is a yearly thing.
Every day gets more interesting.
What did they do? This year they actually got the guy they wanted. They went out and traded. They traded their cap of Kemba, Burks, and Noel. Detroit took all of that. And they cleared up the cap to get Jalen Brunson. They re-signed Mitchell Robinson. And then they signed Hartenstein and Jericho Sims. So I don't. We'll see. I mean, he could prove me wrong, but I don't know how much Jalen Brunson is going to be a go-to player. I mean, yeah, we saw a couple playoff games from him when Luka was out, but
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work for things.
So
But, yeah.
I gave him a C plus. Did you say your grade?
No. I'll probably give him like a B. I'll give him a B plus because I'll give it to them. They got the guy they wanted. They went out and got him. I mean, they cleared all that cap and got him. So I mean, he could prove me wrong still. So.
The only reason I'm giving it a C plus is because all these years they've wanted their guy. It feels like a disappointment that Jalen Brunson is finally your guy. I love Jalen Brunson as a Mavs fan. I liked Villanova back in the day too, so I loved watching those teams. And Jalen Brunson is crafty as can be. I love watching him play. But even if they find a way to trade for Donovan Mitchell, let's say, and they're running Brunson, Mitchell, Randall as their top three, that's a really good team. I still don't think that's a championship type team though.
No, I don't think.
And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, what is the end goal here? Get out of the play-in? Like, they don't have much youth anymore. RJ Barrett's about it. And hopefully he takes a step to an all-star level. But all these other guys, Mitchell Robinson's nice to get back, but I don't.
Yeah, that's another.
It just feels like they're going to be a middling team.
That's what bumped my grade probably was getting Mitchell Robinson back. I feel like that's a key piece.
Yeah, for sure.
They're going for the all left-handed lineup.
Yeah. Well,
Brunson, Randall, and Barrett right now.
I don't know if Brunson is a team-friendly contract either. 4 years, $100 million is a lot, and he's a good player, but
Yeah,
he's got to
like
be at the top of
I think it was
his
110.
performance. Yeah, okay. So he's got to be at the top of his performances to live up to that contract. So, Hayden, what you got for him?
All right, hot take. All right.
Uh-oh.
So, looking at the stats, so I watched J.J. Redick and Jalen Brunson talk about his contract extension. For the Knicks signing in their grade scale, I give it an A- and A. Okay? Just because New York, again, usually finds a way to mess everything up.
Yeah.
Okay? But they finally got the guy they wanted. Brunson averaged 21, 6, and 3. Okay? In that little playoff stint without Luka.
Yep.
That's great numbers for a starting point guard.
Absolutely.
Okay, and he was shooting.
I don't know if
Good
it's
efficiency.
110 million numbers.
Well, you also got to think it's New York. They're
Yeah, I
gonna
understand
pay him because again they never get the guy they want. But the thing is, I think Brunson having all this freedom now to run the show.
Oh, he definitely could go crazy.
I think he's gonna have maybe a most improved season.
But without making a trade for a superstar like Donovan Mitchell, or if you
Yeah.
somehow get a KD or a Kyrie,
Not happen.
if you don't get any of them, Jalen Brunson, I'm not sure is that great with RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, who both want to slash. And Jalen Brunson is not like I'm going to hit a step back three guy. I mean, he loves to live in that mid range too. I just don't know how the spacing and all is going to work also. So
It's going to be interesting.
We'll see.
Development year again.
But is it every year now? That's my point.
I don't know if you can be a development year with
Yeah,
this
after
roster.
that.
Development of getting things just
Figured
on
out.
track.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
because
that
they'll
might
probably
be-
have to trade Randall.
That might be half the year.
All right,
But I have
but
heard they might trade him.
they did a great job at keeping Mitchell Robinson. I will say
Yeah,
that. That is what
that
they
was
needed
bumped
to
my
do,
grade.
and they got Brunson. So they got a center and a guard along with RJ Barrett,
Yeah.
possibly trade Randall, and they also have Emmanuel quickly off the bench. Quickly's nice. Don't
Okay, UK
don't
fan.
slander
I know he's good.
Don't slander him.
All right,
Not a part
so
of the offseason.
moving on to Orlando.
Still happening.
They got 3 of their guys back for 2-year deals: Gary Harris, Mo Bamba, and Bol Bol. And drafted Paulo and Caleb Houston. They lost Robin Lopez, so
Huge loss. Huge.
huge loss.
Huge loss.
Yeah, I think they had one of the best off seasons for these teams that just don't have stars.
Mhm.
Like I think, like them, teams like them,
Orlando
the
has-
Pacers and the Kings. I think they had a minus off season.
Yeah, I give it a B+. Paulo's perfect for this team at number 1. I think that was the right selection for him. That's who I wanted them to take. Gary Harris is nice. Again, this is just going to be a development year. I don't know. You're shooting for maybe the play-in.
This
but
is the team that needs a development. year,
Yeah.
not the Knicks.
Okay.
You're shooting for a play-in. I think this has got to be internal movement before you can get external movement. So we'll see.
All right, so I give Orlando an A. Oh man, an A minus. Oh my goodness, an A minus.
Ooh.
Gave Orlando an A minus. Paulo is most definitely your guy. Trying to change your franchise.
Mhm.
One of a kind player. Again, can't go wrong with top 4 picks, top
Looked
5
good in
picks.
the summer league.
Yep.
All right. Another draft pick was Caleb Houston. Caleb Houston was
Yep,
also a
solid at his
highly
spot.
recruited guy out of
Shout
in
out
college and in high school. Great shooter. They're really young. So, I mean, yes, you can say development year for this one, of course, because Paulo's coming in being the head guy. Best player on your team already. Okay, because they got Wendell Carter. Then they have Cole Anthony, who's good. Still young, like 23.
Suggs.
Jalen Suggs again, another guard that again just needs to take a step up. So I mean, Orlando's gonna be. I think they'll be good in the next 4 years.
For sure. So we go from one of the teams at the bottom of the East to one of the championship contenders, the Philadelphia 76ers.
Trust the process.
Yeah. the
Orlando,
process
just
is-
trust it.
They're trusting it. Harden took a pay cut, signed back for 2 years. PJ Tucker signed for 3. House signed for 2, and they traded for D'Anthony Melton, which was probably my favorite. It's a little sentimental because the Grizz lost Melt, but probably my favorite draft night trade by far. Trading away Danny Green for Melt. So Danny Green they lost obviously and lost DeAndre, so not anything crazy. And good signings I think. So I gave them an A because of Harden taking a pay cut. You got Tucker in house and you traded for D'Anthony Melton, who's going to be huge.
This will be my first. I'm not sure about my last, but it'll be an A+ for me. They made everything that they needed to do this offseason. They did. Harden took the pay cut. Good for him. Good for the team. They're kind of running back the Houston
They're
Rockets
building low
lineup
in
with
Houston.
Tucker and Daniel House. But now it feels like Tyrese Maxey can live up to Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, especially at their state.
Kentucky born and raised.
Okay. Especially,
Live up to what? What are we speaking to?
Come on.
Live up to what?
well, I mean their level of play at that
Now?
time.
Maxey could be.
No,
at
even
that time.
Yes.
It's a lot, but
At least alongside Harden.
yeah, it's possible.
So the key next year is going to be Harden, though. Like, what does he have left? Harden is going to be less than what he was as Houston Harden. So, but I think Tyrese Maxey is proving he can
Yeah,
be.
he's going to be less. I
on
don't know what
that
that
level.
face is about.
I think Harden's gonna make a jump again.
Wow.
I think he's gonna make a jump.
From what?
He's gonna be back in one of the MVP conversations.
What?
No, he's not. That's blasphemy.
For
I
his
think he
sake,
will.
I hope so, but
I think he will be.
But the Anthony Melton trade was perfect. That's exactly what they need off the bench. This feels like a Houston type team, but now you've added Joel, and you have a slightly worse James Harden, and you have a slightly worse Chris Paul. You know, that's now Tyrese Maxey. But I mean, honestly,
Which is still good.
exactly that's better than those Houston teams when you add Joel and
Yeah.
at center instead. So it's an A+ for me.
You have a dominant center.
Tobias Harris.
You have
Yep.
great guard beside James Harden. Then James Harden, who again has everything around him now. He took a pay cut. Great. Okay? Great.
Don't
He's still
pay.
making $35 million.
Logan's probably favorite player is James Harden now that he took a pay cut.
Okay.
We've
That's
had
great.
some heated arguments at work over Damian
That's-
Lillard's contract. So.
Okay, Dame, great player, but $63 million?
I'm telling you right now. I'll talk about this separately, but the market's going to be up there soon.
Way up there.
Well,
He's not even the only one in the 60
okay.
range
No,
already.
I understand that. They're just getting paid more and more.
Toronto. Moving on.
I hope the Anthony Melton
Toronto.
is their instant sixth man. That's all I want to say.
Moving on to Toronto. They signed back Chris Boucher for 3 years. Champagne's question mark. I don't know how long he signed. Otto Porter for 2 years and Thad Young. I feel like if Kevin Durant gets traded, this is one of the top spots.
Which would be wild landing though.
I mean, they have
After he got injured there, it just feels like so real. He got injured.
Go watch the
there,
ESPN,
and then it'd be hilarious.
Watch the trade. Go look
Toronto's
at the
not
trade.
a bad place, but I'm just like, Toronto?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Think about this.
Okay, well, in all reality, KD has he doesn't have no control. But like, if they want to ship
It's a
him to
player-driven league right now.
Yeah, but he
has
doesn't have a
control
no
over where
trade
he
clause
goes.
or anything. If they want to ship him to Toronto, they'll ship him.
They
to
can.
Toronto.
Ship him to
They
Indiana.
can.
They could ship him to Indiana. He can't say.
They can.
Anyways,
But
I feel
will they?
like they are built for they could make a playoff push. Obviously, stay healthy. But if they can go out and get like a guy like KD, big if. But they have the pieces to. One of the best teams with pieces. If you're the Nets, it's one of the best teams with the best pieces you can get.
Absolutely.
So, but as of right now, I still like the team. I gave them a B+ for their signings. So.
Yeah, I'm giving him a B+ too. I like Otto Porter. He fits on any team ever. Thad Young, I like that they traded for him last year, and he was good for him. Good re-signing. They need to somehow find a backup guard, though. It was a problem last postseason. I mean, after Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent, they have no one. So they need to address that some way, somehow. But other than that, good offseason overall.
I gave it a B. Only name worth mentioning is Otto Porter. Pretty
That's
much.
not true. Chris Boucher is a.
Chris Boucher's a great defender.
Well, Otto Porter is the only name worth mentioning external addition.
Yeah.
So
The biggest name is Otto Porter.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's a good addition to him.
All right. We'll move on to the Washington Wizards. They got Bradley Beal for 5 years. They got Taj Gibson for a year. They got Anthony Gill, DeLon Wright, and traded for Monte Morris and Will Barton. And drafted Johnny Davis.
How
There you go.
many players have been on the Wizards roster in the past 3 years?
A lot.
They're just cycling through trades.
A lot.
I don't know.
It doesn't
Trade
feel
Russ.
like a full rebuild right now is what's crazy.
It's not, and I don't want it to be either. Now that
Yeah.
they have Kristaps too, it's just. But I still don't know.
I feel like that Nuggets trade was really good for them.
It was,
Really good. You gave up KCP and who was the other one? Ish Smith.
yeah,
For
for Schmidt, the
Morris
ultimate
and
journeyman. Yeah, so
So I gave him a B+ because it feels like it's another comparison to the Bulls. You can't let Bradley Beal go anywhere. So
yeah, I give him a B-. You can't let Bradley Beal go anywhere. Monte Morris is nice. Will Barton's really nice with him, I think. I like Johnny Davis at 10 to give him a backup guard. But I still just it can't be more than a B- for me just because I need a significant signing. I need a third guy with Bradley Beal and Kristaps. It doesn't have to be any superstar by any means, but it needs to be a guy that's going to get you buckets besides Bradley Beal. And until that happens, I just think they're sitting in limbo still. So
I give it a C+. Because, I mean, re-signing Bill, yeah, he's your best player, but make up your mind between, like you said, they're trading away people they get. They had Russ, traded him. Make up if you want to do a rebuild.
which looks
Okay.
like a fleece now.
Okay. Make up if you want to do a rebuild. Okay, because you have Beal and Porzingis. Or you keep getting top 10 picks. Don't mess up your picks. I mean, you're going to get what you get.
I don't know. I mean, obviously it's still good, but I don't know who they could have possibly got for a better
They couldn't.
fit than Johnny
They couldn't.
Davis. So.
They couldn't have. So, either built for the draft.
Obviously, we'll look back and maybe there'll be somebody, but
Maybe.
right now it looks good.
It's just, I think they're in the weird middle ground.
They are in a weird spot.
So,
But
yeah, make up your mind.
all right, to
That's-
end it real quick, who's winning the East?
Who's winning the
next
East? I'm going to say either the Celtics or Bucks.
There's one answer. You need to have one answer.
Okay, neither one answer. I'm going Boston. Boston's running it back.
I'm going
I said
Milwaukee.
it earlier. I'm going Milwaukee.
All right,
Okay.
so
I'll be the outman.
I mean, we'll see.
so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be top heavy probably, but that's good too. Usually, be a lot of good playoff.
A lot of
matchups.
good, like mid to low level playoff spots. So
Mhm.
it'll be fun, competitive,
So-
probably at the bottom there. So, playing will probably be crazy again. So, yeah. So that's all for the East. We'll have another video coming out for the West. So yeah, we enjoy having Hayden here, and
Absolutely.
until next time, like and subscribe.
We appreciate you.
Peace.